When it's not always raining, there'll be days like this. When there's no one complaining, there'll be
days like this.
When it all falls into place, like the of a switch. Sean told me... I'll switch that back, sorry. There'd be days like this, on which we would be shooting episodes of Is It?
What's that?
Van the Man.
No.
Yeah, Van Morrison.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah. I had a friend who used to mix Van Morrison back in the day, and he tells this very funny story because obviously he was Irishman. Not suggesting that all Irishmen are keen drinkers, but it has been known for an Irishman to enjoy a drink.
Has been known.
And very arrogant man apparently, Van Morrison, and a very, very heavy drinker. And he said at the worst he was at, they were doing these big sort of obviously arena shows with him. Mm-hmm. And it'd start, the band would sort of strike up and there'd just be a spotlight down on the microphone. And he said it was, he's front of house mixing, and the manager would sort of aim him at the mic, centre stage, and just sort of push him. And he'd sort of stumble, down towards the mic. And he got to the mic, and he wears these big sort of brim hats. And he looked up, belched, was sick on his shoes, and fell over.
Nice. Damn.
Yeah, but I've been listening to. I've been listening to some old Van Morrison records recently. So good, like proper records. Soul music.
Yeah. Some really amazing recordings as well.
Yeah, I got into that sort of Irish. Bit of Thin Lizzy as well recently.
Oh, love a bit of Thin Lizzy.
Yeah. Phil Lynott.
Yeah. Nice.
Yeah, there you go. So that was the inspiration for that. Wow. Crikey, that's a lot of knobs.
Thanks very much. It's just the one. Anyway.
Yes.
Today, Dan, we are looking at a new plugin.
Yes.
From Kive.
Kiive.
I think it's Kive. We always call them Kiive. But anyway, it's Kive.
Yeah.
It is the M5133 mastering equalizer.
They ought to do an Skive.
They might not know what that means.
That's what we used to do at school.
It's what we used to do when we weren't at school.
Yeah, that's true.
It was the whole thing of not going to school.
Yep, it was. Yep,
was a Skive.
Yeah.
Did you Skive much then?
I stopped going to school, year 10.
That makes a lot of sense.
Yes, yeah.
That explains everything.
Yeah, I stopped going to school. I just didn't like it. I felt like they treated me like a child.
Odd that.
Yeah.
Isn't it weird?
So I just gave up on the whole thing. I still passed I went in and did my exams.
Yeah.
But I just thought, fuck this.
Yeah.
The thing was, I was quite a good rugby player, but I wasn't better, but I was more keen on playing my guitar. But they wouldn't let me play my guitar unless I played rugby. And I thought, they were holding, it's not like being a musician isn't a sort of, it's not academic, but, it's something you should be doing at that age. And why hold somebody back because they won't play for your rugby team?
Yeah. No, I get that.
So, Mr. Pope, if you're out there...
I had an interesting thing at school. So I stayed on into the sixth form to do my A-levels. I only did...
you didn't.
I did. I only did a year...
You did A-levels?
Well, no, I did a year and then I quit. Right. A year into my A-levels, I got offered a job in the studio and that was it. Never looked back. But in that year of doing my A-levels, I was doing very, very badly. And clearly not going to pass any of them. And... my parents were like, you have to stay at school. Yeah. And my teachers were like, you're not doing well enough to stay at school. And I literally, in all rationality, I went to my head of sixth form. I said, I've got an idea. I'm not very good at this schoolwork stuff, but I've got a load of studio gear at home. Why don't you let me bring it into a classroom and I'll just sit there all day and do that? And they literally went, are you mad? No.
Yeah.
Obviously, they said no. I genuinely thought that would be a good idea. I'll sit at school all day with Cubase and my drum machine and make tunes.
It dawned on me that this idea that you had to come to school to learn things that were completely useless.
Yep.
Whilst dressed exactly the same as everybody else.
I know, it's horrendous.
And and I was like, this isn't right.
No.
Yeah, and I still, obviously your children are grown up. I've got young kid, and you think, God, I'm going to have to put them through this. Where you're right. Yeah, you've got to dress exactly the same as everybody else.
Yeah, but why?
Yeah, well, you just have.
Why.
Yeah,
conform.
Yeah,
do what you're told.
Yeah, you've got to go and do save lessons. What the fuck save? I have no idea.
It's the one part of society that needs fixing more than anything else.
I agree.
School,
Yeah,
rubbish.
I agree. Because conversely, I think education is very important.
Yeah, of course. Well, you taught at university for a long time.
I did teach at university.
I briefly taught at university.
Yeah.
I believe in education. I just don't believe in our education system.
No.
It's pants.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yes, right. Lunchtime.
Go on. How many people did we lose? Like, literally half of our followers have gone, right, we're off, we're going to watch something else. I'm sure Whitesy's got a new video.
Yeah. Okay, Kive. Here we are. Sorry, Kive.
The M5133 Mastering Equalizer.
Yes.
It is, if you can't tell from the look, because it's similar but not the same, it's a modelled version of the Focusrite Blue 315 Mark II isomorphic EQ.
Ah, yeah, the ISO stuff's pretty cool, isn't it? The Focusrite ISO stuff.
The blue range in general is pretty damn good, but this particular EQ, you find it in mastering studios around the world. Some of them have been modified. Some people did some interesting things in changing the capacitors and making them sound even better. But they're very sought after. It's on my shopping list. I'm always seeing them on Reverb and thinking, shall I? Should I? I really, really want one. However, maybe I don't need one anymore. Interestingly, the isomorphic thing was I thought that was a bit of marketing genius, because all stereo EQs should be isomorphic. It just means there's like perfect matching between two things.
Okay.
So left and right.
Did you have to look that up?
I did look. I knew what it meant, but I didn't know how to phrase it.
Yeah.
I understood the concept.
Now I know.
Yeah, there you go.
Isomorphic.
Yeah. Anyway. So Kiive have done.
Let's agree on Kive.
Let's agree on Kiive. Okay.
Kive.
I'm a bit gutted about that. Anyway, so it's 4-band, and you can see the way it's laid out. I quite like it. It takes a minute when you first start using it. So it's matched in to out to in. So you've got the filters on the far left and on the far right, low mid, high frequency. So rather than repeating two sides, it's sort of like a reflection design, which I quite like.
Yeah.
So you've got your filters, you've got your high pass, your low pass, your low mid, your high, you've got your low frequencies, your high mid, and then what you don't have on the hardware, but you do have on this, you have a saturation section. 3 different kinds of saturation. And basically, you've got a choice between, well, none. And you've got a control for second order harmonics and third order harmonics, and you can dial it up, and there's a mix control, and I can't tell you how cool that is. It's just really nice, and only by playing with it will you tell what works best for things. Sometimes a certain kind of saturation will smear your mix, sometimes it won't. You just need to experiment. There's some very, very cool things about it. Obviously it works in stereo, and you can have left and right linked. You can also have it in dual mono, very useful. Or obviously mid-side, which is, again, a fantastic thing. You couldn't do that on the original without running it through a matrix. So that's very, very cool. It has oversampling. Obviously you can choose the saturation type up here. You know, there's the 3 different kinds. There's a width control. There's a bunch of interesting presets. Input control, output control. It's totally fully featured. And it's got to be said, I'm kind of like, well, I've got a whole bunch of EQs I use for mastering, and I've got some interesting saturation stuff. You know, what's this going to add? And it adds a lot. Yeah, it's really interesting. I tried it on a bunch of masters, and I'm like, this is very cool, and it's interesting. It goes back to that conversation we had earlier about, do I like to see a graphic representation?
There isn't
in this case, there isn't one, and that's great. Because you can do such subtle stuff. And they thought of that. So you see the solo buttons here with the little headphones. Yes. It's a delta solo. Okay. So when I solo, let's say the low mid frequency there, I'm hearing the difference that I have achieved. So if it's set to 0 when I solo that, I hear nothing. Ah, okay. So you hear... So if I boost a bit of low mid and solo it, I'll only hear the bit that I've changed. The bit I've added.
So what if you duck it?
Then you hear what you've taken out. Ah,
okay. So it doesn't just get quieter.
No. So I love that. That's very, very useful. But ultimately, it all comes down to the sound of it, and the sound of it, to my ears, is fantastic. Yeah. Well, I was going to say, I mean, I know you're a big fan of the Kiive stuff, and I think they're great. It looks like a Sean plugin. It does, I guess. Yeah. Lots of things to fiddle with. But it's one of those. It's like you're probably only going to do very subtle things with it. Yeah. And it excels at that. It's not an EQ you get stuck in.
Very precise.
Yeah, I wouldn't insert this on a vocal and start messing with it. This is a mastering EQ for me, and it's like I want to do a subtle thing. Maybe I want to lose half a dB of the low mid, or I want to push the mid at maybe 2K just to lift that vocal a little bit out of the mix. This is perfect for that, and to be able to add a bit of third order harmonics, maybe to just the sides. It gives you that real stereo width without going nuts. You've got real fine control over it.
Very nice.
I think this combined with their, they did that mastering processor, which was a combination of the Neve Portico and the SSL Fusion.
Yeah, of course, I remember that.
And you could mix and match it. That with this, done.
Happy days.
Happy days, yeah.
Cool. Demo?
Demo, yes. It's full 14 days. Yeah.
Brilliant. I should just about have worked out how to use it by
it's
then,
not hard. It's really easy to use.
Yeah,
I think it's not hard at all.
Cool. And then once we've decided we love it,
well, this is the bit, Dan, where it all goes even better.
Okay.
The full price,
even better. Yeah.
The full price, £100.
Bargain.
Right now in the sale, £62. Yeah, £62. £62.
Go and get it.
Just go and get it. If you do any mastering at all, go and get this. I just think it's right up there. There are times I will pick the Pulsar 8200 because I know very specifically I'm going to be able to get something I want out of that. If I want to do something very, very subtle, definitely this, especially with the saturation. It might mean that I don't use another saturator on any master. I don't often saturate masters, but if I do, this
is what you'd use.
Just very subtle to add a little bit here and there. Very keen.
So not shit.
Not at all shit. No, I think they've really, really nailed this one.
Excellent stuff.
Yeah.
I couldn't remember then whether I actually asked you the question. You've been.
I was just too enthusiastic all the way through. Ruined the whole thing. The whole concept of the show.
I better ask you just for. Is it shit? No. Okay, good. Excellent. Excellent stuff. Well, before you go and demo this fantastic new Kive plugin, please like this video.
That would be cool. You can also subscribe to the channel or become a channel member. There's an Instagram, which is Studio Life 101. There's a Patreon. There's a merch store. I've also got a mixing course, which is 5 chapters in videos, over 3 hours long. Really worth the look. All the links and everything down there.
Go and have a look. Until next time, sayonara.
Adios.